I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future, and instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Leadership is consistency. Being an entrepreneur can be exciting. As entrepreneurs, we can decide what we want to do every single day. We can make a decision as to how to spend every day. We can do whatever we want because we've chosen to be responsible for ourselves, for our own outcomes, for our own success. However, those of us who have decided that our contribution alone is not enough and are building teams have to realize that leadership is consistency. Because there's a simple equation we all have to understand about leadership. People will follow a leader that they trust. People will work harder for a leader that they trust. People will do more for a leader that they trust. And people trust a leader that is consistent. And not just consistent in winning or consistent in doing well or consistent in what they do for the business, but consistent with their people. So first, with emotional self-regulation. People trust a leader that doesn't fly off the handle, that doesn't get upset, that doesn't get frustrated visibly in front of them. In fact, when a leader does those things, people will often be afraid to tell that person what is really going on. And I can tell you from personal experience, I've been that leader. I didn't always understand these things. One of the reasons I feel I can help just about any entrepreneur that's scaling a multi-million-dollar business is that I've made all the mistakes myself. And I was the leader that would get dysregulated and raise my voice and, yell and get upset in front of my team or just show up in a way that let everybody know I wasn't happy with what was going on. And that challenges trust with your team every time you do it. And I didn't understand it until for some people on my team, it was too late. And I spent a career doing those things, and I didn't realize how much I was undermining my own authority as a leader by doing them, because every time I flew off the handle, every time I got frustrated, every time my team saw me visibly frustrated or upset or irritated, whether they knew why or not, they saw me as someone who was inconsistent. And A players trust consistency. B players look for consistency. C players will put up with inconsistency. So you lose a lot of good people. And it's not just emotional self-regulation. There's this consistency in communication. If leaders communicate consistently and within a structure so that people know when they're going to hear from them, what they're going to talk about, why they're going to say it, what part of the plan it is, then you build an even higher level of trust and you are seen as even more of a leader. And leadership is consistency, because if you're clear with expected communication, your team's not waiting for word on high each time you communicate. If you don't have a system through which you're communicating, your team's literally waiting for you to just decide what you're going to tell them. And leadership is consistency in winning over and over again. But here's what I mean by that. This goes back to what I said yesterday. Leadership is consistency in winning over and over again, in telling your team where you're going, putting the path together to get there, and actually achieving over and over. So setting goals and setting objectives and outcomes that you actually achieve, not wishes or dreams. And this is how we really create leadership, through consistency. And this is how we build the highest levels of trust with our teams. And the challenge is that this isn't how most of us are hardwired. In fact, as entrepreneurs, most of us are hardwired to be somewhat inconsistent. In fact, we fight routine, we fight process. We don't want the constraint. For most of us, even having appointments set on the calendar frustrates us, and having to have meetings. Oh God, please don't make us have meetings. But the challenge is, once we've decided to build a team, we have to start to create a level of consistency so that a team can trust us. Imagine for your team members what it's like if there isn't a level of consistency. They're just getting communicated with when you feel like it. They don't know how to win on a day-to-day basis because they're waiting to find out what it is that you really want. So it's amazing how quickly a team will respond to consistency. I want to share with you a story of one of my clients who's just amazing. Her name's Emily Hirsch, and it's uncanny how much she and I have in common, except for the fact that we're over 20 years apart in age. And she is one of the most brilliant CEOs I've ever worked with. She's also an incredible mother, and she's a great spouse, but just an amazing business person, and an intuitive business person. I've worked with business people who are intuitive before and who can do things beyond their capabilities. But Emily is one of the most high intuitive business people I've ever worked with, and she's just brilliant to ask questions of. And she's built a massive business, and multi-million-dollar business. And she has a team of, I think it's over 10 people now, or 15 people. And in just the past few months, she's installed some serious consistency. She started having the same meetings in the same way. She's worked on emotional self-regulation. She's started taking better care of herself, started spending quality time with her family, uninterrupted from other things. And, a lot of those things for people like us are very hard. It's hard to schedule meetings and stick to a meeting cadence when it feels like you could be doing something that could make things go faster. It's hard to do self-care and find time for yourself so that you can do things better, and trust that it'll help you do things better. That's hard. It's hard to even make that leap of faith for people like us. And it's hard to put that level of consistency into our lives, because the reason so many of us became an entrepreneur is that we wanted to be free. We wanted to do whatever we wanted. And so what we need to do is what Emily has done, is realized that a higher level of process actually is what you want, because it creates the outcomes you want. And Emily's had record month after record month after record month because she has started showing up in the same way for her team and working on herself and working on the processes within the business. And as a result, her company's growing double digits every few weeks. It's intense. It's amazing how fast her company's growing and how consistently she's keeping the output, how consistently they are successful in what they do. She runs a Facebook ads agency, and it's the results she gets for her clients are incredible, and she's growing her business and raising her 2 kids. And, in the past few weeks, her team started telling her how much they admire her as a leader, and how much she's improved as a leader, and how proud they are of her, and how excited they are to be working for her. And these are things that, some CEOs will never hear in their entire lives. And Emily, I think she's 23. So when I say she's one of the most brilliant and intuitive business people I've ever met and ever had the privilege of working with, that's what I'm talking about. She's done all of this, and she's 23. So, putting process in place and putting structure in place and having her team feel that way like they do about her, I can't imagine where she's going to be able to take her company. I can't imagine, how big that organization's going to end up and how successful Emily might become, because in just the last 4.5 months of us working together, it's been incredible watching how much things have changed for her. And she left me a Voxer today and told me that she almost cried in a team meeting because her team was talking in a way about her that she never thought she would hear. She's never heard before. And that all came about from an increased level of consistency. And so if you want to have an impact on the people around you, if you want the people around you to trust you profoundly, to give you their time, to commit to you, to show you loyalty, to help you build your biggest outcomes, then commit to being consistent around those people. Commit to showing up in the same way. Commit to working on yourself and hydrating and moving and breathing and getting the right nutrition. And if you need to, seek out an EMDR therapist and get some help with scheduling and understanding, how you can manage yourself so that you show up in a better way. Create a morning routine. Go back to the beginning of these podcasts and listen to them. The path is there so that you can create intense consistency in your life, because here's where we get confused. We see the practice of consistency and discipline as constraining, when in reality, the practice of discipline and consistency is exactly what will set you free. Process will set you free. Consistency will set you free. Because when we make the world around us consistent, we allow our mind to be free to create whatever future we want. And when we are consistent, the people around us see us as a natural, present, and aware leader. And that's how we grow the teams and attract the people that help us reach our greatest destination and make our greatest contribution through consistency. If you're ready to be more consistent and start growing your business in a methodically predictable way at explosive rates, then reach out to us, because if you've created an opportunity bigger than the infrastructure you have around you can fulfill, you know the pain of feeling like you've left money on the table and there's opportunity you're walking away from. Stop. Get in touch with us immediately, and we'll take you through our process to see if you're qualified. And if you are, we'll get on a call and talk about how you can scale and grow your business far faster than you are today, and do so without feeling like you're letting anyone down or doing it all yourself.